Okay, so a couple of weeks ago I said, should we do another FAQ? And you all said yes. So let's jump straight in. So first up, how was my day? Not bad. Bit warm, but pretty good. So next up, what is my favourite Gojira song and what did I think of the new album? Don't have a favourite Gojira song. They kind of all do different things for me, so it depends on my mood, depends on what I want to listen to. So I really like Heaviest Matter, Backbone, Global Warming, Love, Severa. It depends on my mood, really. They kind of all tick different boxes for different moods. What do I think of the new album? It's different, but I like it. It's interesting to see how they're evolving as a band and kind of their sounds more maturing. You still got that kind of essence of classic Gojira, but you've also got the kind of more magma sound in there. So I'm kind of interested to see how it continues developing. Some of the songs are going to sound really great live. So what is my favourite Behemoth album? Favourite album would be Satanist. Why do I like it? I feel it's kind of got a good flow to it. Everything flows nicely. There's a good kind of tension and release going backwards and forwards throughout the whole album. And there's enough kind of heavy, chaotic stuff and then a bit more melodic. It kind of just ticks all the boxes for me. So next up, how can one master Gojira's music? It's just a case of studying the music, playing the music, watching videos as well to see hand positions, and just doing it a lot, really. So next up, did I like Fortitude? Yes, mentioned that before. Favourite track? My favourite track, it's between Newfound or Into the Storm. Can't decide which one. Another World's also very good. What is my dream guitar? Good question. I really like my Dean Cadillacs. I know they're a bit of a kind of hit and miss guitar, but if I could get a Dean Cadillac with kind of some maybe Fishman influence, maybe one with an Evertune as well. What do I think of Baba Yaga? Not listened to it, so let's have a listen to it now. Alright, have a listen to it. Pretty solid track on the whole. Not my usual thing, but I can appreciate it. Sounds good as well, nice production, and it's got some tasty riffs. Okay, so how do I find motivation to play? Most of it's kind of, I have a kind of natural passion for music. I'm always listening to music on some level. When I find myself kind of in a bit of a rut, I'll listen to something completely different. Might be listening to like Devin Townsend, Next Day Lamb of God. Sometimes I might go completely different, something like The Algorithm. I do still occasionally listen to like mainstream radio as well, just to see what's going on with normal music. So it's kind of mixing things up enough to try and find something different to kind of stimulate that want to learn again. I mean, sometimes as well, it's good to take a break. Sometimes you'll find if you take a break and go back to it, some of the things you're struggling with become a bit easier. I'd definitely say kind of seek out something that you're interested in playing. If you're kind of trying to play something that you've got no interest in playing, it's very hard to learn and stay interested. I mean, I'd say maybe try grabbing a guitar from somewhere if you can and giving it a go, just to see how the two work together. So kind of the bass is always going to underpin what the guitar's doing, but the guitar adds the colour to the bass line. So there is this interaction, and sometimes when you do one, you suddenly get more appreciation for the other, and vice versa. I know where I was playing guitar and then I decided to play a bit of bass, I was kind of like, this all makes a bit more sense now of why the guitar acts one way and a bassist acts a different way. How do I look so good? I don't know, I just pull faces. How do I think Light of the Diamond held up compared to my new music, and anything I would do differently now to portray its concept? So, for those that don't know, Light of the Diamond was an album I put out about 5 years ago now. It was actually an album I wrote as part of my composition degree. If you want to listen to it, it's up on Spotify and all the usual places. So how do I think it's held up compared to the new music? On the whole, it's held up well, and there's nothing I would have particularly changed in it. I'm kind of not one to go back and tweak it or anything. The only thing that would be nice is to have a nicer mix on it, but music-wise, it's held up well, and it's a good snapshot of how I was writing at that point in time. Anything I'd have done differently to portray its concept? Again, no, I kind of think I got what I wanted to get across at the time. So no, I don't think I'd have changed much about it. But as a quick extra bonus, I will now play you some snippets of the new songs. Follow the trends, chase the craze. You sold your soul, you sold your mind, you sold your spirit. Now there's nothing left behind. You walk and grind, blaze to the ground. This place is moment, we're all to see. will I do a video explaining most familiar techniques used by Gojira? So I have got a couple of videos up. I've done the pick scrape video, and I have done kind of common techniques used by Gojira. If you want more of an in-depth explanation of some of the things, let me know and put some comments up and I can look into it. So I mainly play the Dean and the Ibanez. They're the two that I kind of spent money on 10 years ago. They've been solid instruments and I've not had a need to upgrade them. I've kind of invested elsewhere rather than being a kind of gear person. I mean, obviously I'd like to have a few more guitars, but it's not necessary at the moment. At some point it'd be nice to have kind of a 7-string to kind of have a more stable down tuning, or a baritone, but mainly they do the job, so there's no need to kind of buy more things. So, members of a dream supergroup. I can't decide on a full lineup yet, but two people I'd love to see collaborate together: Devin Townsend and Danny Elfman. For those who haven't seen Danny's new music videos he's been putting out recently, and there's a new double album coming out, go check them out. Kind of weird, but they're brilliant. How am I? I'm still very warm. So, advice for when you're in the rut, as I kind of mentioned before, it's kind of mix things up a bit, look at music that you're not used to, but then also play something you enjoy, experiment as well. Sometimes just take a break, because you can burn out if you're just trying to do something over and over and over again. You could try setting small goals as well, so say learn one song a week or one song every other week. It's basically kind of set goals but add variety as well, so you're not just repeating yourself. So how am I so heavy? Again, I don't know, maybe the face? That one? So how should you start practicing to get better? Okay, I'm going to give a bit of a shout out here to Riff Hard. I've been kind of floating around with them for about 4 months or so. They're definitely worth looking into. It's kind of a guitar community run by John Brown and co. It's a good way to learn techniques and challenge yourself. The community is very supportive. So apart from that, it's find stuff you're interested in. If you want to improve, try and do focused practice. So rather than playing aimlessly for an hour, try and do 10 minutes a day of focused practice. So find a technique and say, this is what we're going to do today. And the next day do, this is a different technique. Third day say, today we're going to look at this song. Also challenge yourself and push yourself slightly outside your comfort zone. You might feel like you're not going to ever get somewhere, but the more you do things that are hard, the more you're going to progress. Do I like Bloodbath? Yes. Yes, I prefer the older stuff with Michael Ackerfeld as well. So how old when I started playing? I was 14. Basically, my friend had a guitar. I went around his house and said, can I have a go? And that was it. I got sucked into it. So how long have I been playing? So it kind of follows on from before, coming up to somewhere around 15 years now. Any subgenres that I can't stand of metal? I'm pretty tolerant of most things. The things that put me off the most, it's the vocal styles. I'm not a fan of when a vocalist kind of sounds like they're just throwing a bit of a tantrum. So what DAW do I use? What plugins do I use for recording? And how do I edit YouTube videos? Okay, so my DAW is Logic 10. My plugins, most often it's the Le 456 by Lapoo or the Emissary Ignite amps, Le Cab 2, TSE 808. Occasionally I will use some of the bias stuff as well. I made a while back a video of free guitar tones. That's still more or less the same method that I use, it's just been refined slightly over the years. How do I edit my videos? I'm just using iMovie. I want to at some point change that because it's a bit limiting, but for the time being it does the job. So I do have a video up of how I record a guitar cover and upload it to YouTube, which I will link below. Okay, so what bands do I like the most? A lot. It depends on my mood of what I'm feeling, but sometimes it'll be kind of Devin Townsend with a bit more grandiose. Sometimes it might be something a bit more electronic like The Algorithm or Dance with the Dead, or sometimes a bit more groovy like Gojira or Lamb of God. It's really dependent. Occasionally we'll dive into something a bit more heavier like Bloodbath or Hypocrisy, but it varies a lot. Quite like the symphonic side of things as well, so Septic Flesh and Flesh God Apocalypse. So yeah, quite a lot. Favourite black metal band? I need to listen to more, to be honest. So at the moment I can't really pick one. Favourite Gojira album? Probably going to go for L'Enfant Sauvage. Yeah, we'll go for L'Enfant Sauvage. Favourite song to play? don't have a single favourite song. Different songs kind of feel good in different ways. Like Backbone, if you can nail it, your hand's killing, but you feel good because you nailed it. But Ouroboros is just fun with that kind of groove in it, so I don't have a single favourite Gojira song to play. So is playing slow and speeding up the best way? It's definitely one method of doing it. Get yourself a metronome, play slow, speed it up, speed it up. Guitar Pro is very good for that because you can set a speed trainer, so you can set a BPM and say increase the BPM to BPM every repeat. The other way that I've seen, which Dr. Vyossi recommends, it's just kind of going for it. So just playing as fast as you can from the start. See which method works best. I kind of vary between the two. Sometimes I'll do a start slow and speed it up, which I had to do sweep picking, which I'm still a bit hit and miss on. Sometimes I can go kind of in straight, heavy, fast on some things. So try both. Best string gauge for Gojira, Opeth, and pick gauge. It kind of depends slightly on what your style of playing is and if you prefer thick strings or slightly looser strings. I've typically got, so typically for Gojira at the moment, which is D standard, drop C mainly, I'm using early balls. They are 11 to 48. Standard tuning I use 10s. I'm currently on my drop B C sharp standard. I have these ones, 12 to 56s. So it's kind of a bit of a case of play around and see what you like. Pick gauge. At the moment I am using some D'Addario 1mm Duralin Precision. I find that I kind of wear through picks quite a lot, so I thought I'd try something new, and these are working out pretty well so far. Typically I would go between kind of 0.8 to 1.2mm. Again, it's have a play around, see what you like. I found thinner picks aren't good for faster playing, they bend too much, you can't get the attack right. But sometimes the very thick picks, they can feel weird to hold. So it's try a bunch, but for me it's kind of around the 1mm. Any Meshuggah covers coming? Not at the moment, my guitars won't appreciate being that low. What shows I'm looking forward to in 2021? I haven't got anything planned at the moment, I'm kind of holding out and just seeing how it goes, but I have booked Meshuggah next year in London. Several questions, so do I play anything else apart from bass and guitar? I did, when I was younger, play keyboards for a little while, but I haven't played them for a very long time. Did I study music? Yes, I have done a guitar performance degree and a music composition degree. Where can I get a guitar face like mine? I'm afraid mine's attached. For the time being though, you can stand in front of a mirror and you're basically looking for that one. You can do it. Believe in you. So where did I go get my White Dean Cadillac? It was a local music shop actually. They no longer sell Deans. So which guitarist made me pick up the guitar? So I kind of started off listening to Trivium, System of a Down and Disturbed, then later Lamb of God. So it was those bands which kind of got me going first. Sugar was probably one of the first songs I learned, and I did spend a lot of time trying to work out how Darren was doing like natural harmonics and things like that. So how can you make sure your guitar strings stay tight in drop A? It's going to be heavier gauge strings. I mean the 12s that I use, these ones, they're a bit loose in drop A because I normally have it in drop B. So 13s would work better. But you will need to set up your guitar a bit, so changing the intonation, you might need to check the truss rod and everything. Basically, thick strings will help with lower tunings. Have I heard of Tropalium? No, I haven't, but I will go and have a listen to them. So I hope you found that interesting. I tried to answer as many as I could without making it too long. If you want to do more Q&A in the future, questions below. Until then, enjoy.